When we were learning how to walk as a child, nobody handed us a complicated system. We didn't read a book about walking. We didn't practice 100 different progressions. We learned how to walk by actually attempting to walk. And that same principle applies to every system in life. And why is it that something so simple becomes so complicated? So I'm going to show you a simple 5 step framework I use to build systems for anything: fitness, trading, discipline. And once you understand this framework, you can apply it to any area of your life. The first step is to define the pattern. I want to give you an analogy. We have two people who are searching for ways to improve their fitness journey. Person A searches, I want to get better at fitness. And person B searches, I want to unlock a 10-second handstand hold starting from zero. Who's going to have a more detailed search? The rule is to be extremely specific about the thing that you want to improve on. So instead of just saying, I want to be a better trader, you say, I want to overcome my addiction of over leveraging. Instead of just saying, I want to be a better person, you say, I want to overcome my social anxiety of speaking to women that I'm interested in. In order to create a system, you have to identify the thing that you want to create a system around. Write out all the things that you want to improve on and pick one, or pick the ones that you can actually apply simultaneously. For example, if you're trying to learn a new language and you're trying to overcome social anxiety of speaking to others, those two correlate, because as you're learning that new language, you can apply that to those public situations. So if you're trying to learn Spanish, you can apply that in public when you see others or hear others having a conversation in Spanish and you try to practice. Step two is to train the actual pattern. If you want to get better at social anxiety, you can watch every single video there is in the world, but your social anxiety doesn't go away unless you actually go in public and speak to others. Instead of just watching a bunch of videos on how to overcome social anxiety, when you go out into public, actually attempt to speak to others. Every time you go into the grocery store, every time you go into a public space, make it a habit to speak to somebody, to give a compliment. If you're just walking down the aisle to grab something, give a person a compliment. If they just grabbed an item, or if you see like you're on the same aisle and you're looking at the same type of products and they pick up one, you ask them, what's your opinion on this one? Is this something new that you're trying? When you are going through the checkout line and somebody is ringing you up, look at their name tag and say their name. Thank you to that person. Make it a habit that every time that you step out the door, you have to speak to somebody. Even if you're stuttering, even if you don't know what to say, still make it a habit. Let me give you another analogy, right? You have two people who a month ago decided that they were going to go on a date, right? Let's say January 1st. And they said on February 1st, we're going to go on this date. And they didn't talk for a month straight. And the guy, a couple of days before, decides to get some clothes, get a haircut, get some new cologne, make dinner reservations. He did everything beforehand. He's ready. Shows up to the reservation and the date doesn't show up. He did everything but the number one most important thing, which was actually confirm that you're going to be going on a date with this person. So he did all these unnecessary things instead of doing the number one thing that's the most important. If you want to get better at trading gold, you get better by actually trading gold. Trading Euro USD is not the same as trading gold. If gold is the pair that you want to trade and you're trading AUD USD thinking that's going to correlate to gold, that doesn't work. Number three is high repetition. The more and more that you do something, the more automatic it becomes. Go back to the scenario of a child. When we were learning how to walk, It took us so many reps, so many attempts. And now, today, we walk as if it's nothing. Walking, we don't even think about it. Then you observe and you adjust. So let's use the same scenario of social anxiety. You have to understand what are the cues. If you have to take a notebook everywhere you go or write it out on your phone everywhere you go to acknowledge it, when you walk into the grocery store, let me give you an example. And you observe that every time you walk into the grocery store, you immediately put your head down. Every time you look at somebody, you can't look at them in the eye. When you're walking through the store, you just have your phone in your hand looking down, not doing absolutely anything to fill that void so you don't have to look up. Those are those cues that you start to observe, and that's what you do is adjust. So every time, now that you are aware of that, every time that you walk into the store, every single time you have your head up. Every single time you walk into the store, leave your phone in the car. Every time that you speak to somebody, look at them in the eyes. You start making those small fine-tuned adjustments. If you're trying to learn how to do a handstand, you actually attempt the handstand, and with every attempt, you critique yourself. I observed that when I kick up into the handstand, I'm doing too much power. Out of 20 attempts, 15 of those I'm using too much force and I'm falling forward. Okay, let me use a little bit less power to stabilize myself a little bit more. So now this next session that you do tomorrow, that is your focus to not push over as much. Even if you start falling back more, that is the goal, to not push over as much. And then it gets to the point where out of a 20 attempts, let's say now it is half and half. Now 10 you come back, 10 you go forward. And you keep on doing that repetitive over and over again. And now guess what? It gets to out of 20 attempts, 15 of those was an actual good hold where you actually was able to hold it for a second before falling over. The other 5 you either kicked over or kicked less. And once you've got that repetitiveness, now you go to the next thing that you need to critique. And this is how you learn anything without having to consume so much content. If you want to overcome over leveraging, you put something in place that forces you to not over leverage. You're aware of that every single trade that you take. I am only going to risk this amount for the day. Once that number is hit, I am done trading for the day. And that's all you're focused on. You're not focused on if you win, you're not focused on how much money you make. You are just simply focused on building the system of not over leveraging. And the more that you repeat those things, observe and adjust, something amazing starts to happen. And that is, the system has become automatic. Now you no longer over leverage. Now you no longer walk into stores with your head down. Now you're not afraid to talk to anybody. Now the only pair that you trade is the pair that you wanted to trade, which was gold. You warm up with handstands. You're no longer training to unlock a handstand. And once the system becomes automatic, we go to the next thing that we want to improve on. You unlock your handstands. Now, what is next? Do you want to unlock handstand push-ups? Are you okay with just handstands? You want to go to the muscle up? You no longer are afraid to speak to people no more. Now you want to learn how to actually hold conversations with people. And the cycle continues to keep on going. And the reason why this flow is so powerful, because this exact same framework can determine a bad habit that you struggle with and that you want to overcome. And it can also create a habit that you want to start applying to your life. Success doesn't come from motivation. Success comes from repetition. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section. What are the systems that you're currently trying to build? And what are the habits that you're currently trying to break?